Let me tell you something about Coach Saban, one of his beliefs that's permeated every guy that's ever coached for him. All the hype, it lasts till you get punched in the mouth. Well, once you get punched in the mouth, you fall back on your preparation, and you got to be a relentless ass competitor. If not, it's going to be a long afternoon.
Clemson has this team that Tommy Bowden and the Tiger fans have been waiting to see for a long time.
Clemson fans were expecting to win. I think we had 18 starters returning right around there. Had a quarterback, Cullen Harper was coming back, a running back, C.J. Spiller, had a pretty good wide receiver, Aaron Kelly, and enough defensive players we thought we could have a pretty good year.
It was fascinating because it was the first Chick-fil-A kickoff game. So no one really knew what to expect. And Clemson was the team that was expected to contend for a championship. It was Tommy Bowden's 10th year there. And as far as Alabama was concerned, we really didn't know what to expect. The year before, there'd been a lot of ups and downs for Alabama. They'd gone 7-6 in Nick Saban's first season. They'd lost the Iron Bowl. They'd lost to EGAD, Mississippi State. They lost to even more EGAD, double EGAD, Louisiana Monroe. So Nick Saban as a championship coach, we all expected him to get there, but I don't know that any of us really believed it was going to happen in 2008.
The Crimson Tide curtain led on the field by senior quarterback John Parker Wilson.
He's very, very important to this Alabama attack this year with so many young players around him. His leadership is pivotal, especially in this opening ball game.
I think a consistent message was just learning how to finish games. We were good players. You know, we're all playing in Alabama. We're all capable athletes. It was just learning how to win and learning how to win the close games, which that first season we really didn't do. We lost a lot of games that we should have won.
For us, we wanted to go out on a note that let people know that, you know, Alabama is back, Alabama is a dominant school, and we're not going to be the underdogs. We're going to be the bullies on the block. When we roll in, you're not going to want to play us.
That Clemson team, they had guys that have gone on in the NFL and had success. C.J. Spiller, for example, was one of their marquee playmakers. They had players. They had won games. They had a returning coaching staff. And again, they were the team that was expected to go on and compete for a championship in the ACC and maybe even for a national championship that season. Whereas Alabama, again, we just didn't know.
I remember starting out the game, I felt like we would be able to run the ball a little bit.
And it's a thunderous effort by the Tide right now as Terrence Cody, their 365-pound nose man, blows the play out.
It was a complete mismatch. Clemson's offensive line against Alabama's defensive front, again led by Terrence Cody, it was no contest. And Clemson finished with 0 rushing yards. 0. And less than 200 yards of total offense. And John Parker Wilson, the veteran, the senior quarterback, looking like a different quarterback that year than he had before, looking calm, collected, confident.
Here's your 3rd and 3, and Wilson's going to throw for the end zone. Touchdown! There's the youngster's first touchdown with the Crimson Tide.
Julio Jones, we saw Mark Ingram, his Alabama debut. He led all rushers that game.
Here's the toss play now to Ingram.
I'm not going to say we were expecting to beat them the way we were, but I think with the way Coach Saban wires the team and the staff, you always focus on you. You always focus on what you need to get done. You're dominating your opponent, you're executing, and you're trying to make his ass quit. And that was a good early establishment for that season. We made them quit.
Instead of saying, oh boy, there's Clemson being Clemson, what I'm saying is, be careful with Alabama. We all said when Nick Saban went to Tuscaloosa, it's not a matter of if, but when. The Crimson Tide would be up there where LSU and all the big boys hang out in the SEC. Would it be in the 3rd? Would it be in the 4th year? Right now, it looks like it might be year number 2.
At that point in time is when myself and all the other seniors in my senior class got together and was like, you know, we're going to change the culture of this university, and we're going to bring it back to where it was.
Now, for Nick Saban, it was going to be managing expectation. I think it was a tremendous boost for their players from a confidence standpoint, all the hard work, everything he says, the process is going to pay off.
More than any touchdown, any catch, any tackle, I remember the post game. It was the first time we were introduced to the concept that Nick Saban would be angrier after a victory than he would ever be after a loss.
You know, what our players need to understand, what our fans need to understand, what everybody needs to understand. It's one game. It's one game. And we need to keep playing better, and we need to improve, and our players need to have the focus to improve and remember how they got where they got, rather than think that we can just show up now and beat whoever we play. Because we have a tendency to think that way around here, instead of just kicking people's ass like you're supposed to and working to do it.
Those guys were wired right. They went right back to business on Sunday. And you know, you talk about the losses from the year before, and this is where coach is really good. When we lost the ULM game in Bryant-Denny, that's the lowest that we have ever been. That was a devastating loss for us. All right, but on Sunday, coach comes in, hey guys, sun came up this morning, see why we got beat, let's fix it and move on. And the same thing, it kind of carried over in reverse after we had the Clemson win, which was a big win, you know, a lot of exposure. And he told them, hey, you can feel good about yourself, you did a good thing, 24 hours, we're going back to work and we're working on the next opponent.
You know, we all bought into whatever Coach Saban wanted us to do. We were all in. We were going to do it. And I think that was where it all started at that point in time, that allowed us to change that atmosphere and to change the mindset of people calling us underdogs. And we took that as extra motivation. You
know, you just know that you were a part of something bigger than yourself, something that's, you know, really a lot of people are proud of, because everybody recognizes that 2008, the kids that bought in then, they're the ones that established the Alabama today. They're the ones that, you know, made it where other kids want to come there.
As a player, it's one of the things that really excites you about coming to play. It's not that, you know, mediocre is going to be good enough. It's that the fans, the players, everybody expects you to be perfect.
Anytime you lose a game like that, where expectations are high, it's a national televised audience, as a head coach, you've got to be a pretty strong pillar of faith to your staff. So even though you lose, it's one game out of 12, and you've got to somehow paint that picture that it's not over. It's just one game.
I don't know if anyone saw Dabo Swinney coming. He was the wide receivers coach. He'd never been a college coordinator. They make him the interim coach. And there were a lot of skeptical people in that Clemson fan base and in the college football world in general, because a lot of people didn't know anything about Dabo Swinney. And no one, and I mean no one, saw Dabo Swinney becoming what he is now, one of the elite coaches in college football, back in 2008 when he was given that job on an interim basis. And I mean probably Dabo Swinney himself never saw that coming. Even Terry Don Phillips, the Clemson athletic director at the time, he's the one who really went out on a limb for Dabo, gave him that opportunity, and then kept him around. When they struggled at first, those first few years, it was Terry Don Phillips who really believed in Dabo, called him into his office after 1 year. Dabo thought he was about to be fired, and Terry said, no, I believe in you. You're going to get it done here. And he certainly has done that.